What happens when a legendary actor, known for his charisma and unapologetic candor, clashes with a host who isn't afraid to cross boundaries for ratings? This moment on The View went down in television history as one of the most intense and emotional confrontations. Samuel L. Jackson, the star of iconic films, came to promote his new action movie, but no one was prepared for what happened next. The studio froze, the audience held their breath, and producers scrambled in a panic backstage. This wasn't just a conversation, it was a battle of principles, dignity, and respect. A sunny morning in New York. The View studio buzzes with anticipation. Bright spotlights bathe the stage in warm light, and the audience, packed with fans, hums with excitement. Giant screens flash clips from Samuel L. Jackson's new movie, explosions, chases, his signature piercing stare, and charismatic smile. Today, he's here to talk about Last Strike, a blockbuster already poised to be a hit. The hosts, Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sarah Haynes, and Sunny Hostin, sit at the iconic round table, smiling and trading jokes. Joy, as always, radiates sharp sarcasm, her eyes glinting with anticipation. She's known for asking uncomfortable questions, and today, she seems in the mood for provocation. Whoopi, by contrast, appears relaxed, her warm smile trying to keep the atmosphere light. Sarah and Sunny exchange glances, as if sensing the day might take an unexpected turn. The music swells, and Samuel L. Jackson strides onto the stage. His confident gait, signature leather jacket, and infectious smile ignite a wave of applause. The audience erupts, someone shouting, "Samuel, you're the best!" He waves, sits in the guest chair, and instantly fills the studio with his larger-than-life energy. Cameras hum, zooming in to capture his every move. "Samuel, welcome!" Whoopi begins with a warm smile. "You look like you just saved the world in your new movie. Tell us about Last Strike." "Thanks, Whoopi," Jackson replies in his deep, gravelly voice, made for the big screen. "It's a story about a guy who doesn't back down when it comes to protecting what he believes in. Lots of action, a bit of heart, and of course, a few signature moments you'd expect from me." The audience laughs, feeling his charisma. But Joy, leaning over the table with a sheet of notes in hand, has a glint in her eye that suggests she's preparing something more than a standard interview. "Samuel, the movie looks cool," Joy starts, her tone seemingly friendly but laced with a hint of sarcasm. "But you know, all these action movies, explosions, shootouts, heroes saving the world. Don't you think it's a bit dated? I mean, isn't it time you tried something deeper than just playing the tough guy?" The studio falls silent. The audience, laughing moments ago, freezes. The camera catches Jackson raising an eyebrow slightly, but his smile doesn't fade. He leans back in his chair, as if accepting a challenge. "Dated?" he repeats, his voice calm but tinged with irony. "Joy, people go to the movies for a rush, to laugh, to forget their problems. My films deliver that. But if you think I'm just about explosions, you probably haven't seen A Time to Kill or Shaft. There's some depth there, trust me." The audience claps, rallying behind him. Whoopi nods, trying to steer the conversation back to friendly territory, but Joy doesn't stop. Her eyes narrow, and her smile sharpens. "Oh, I've seen them, Samuel," Joy replies, her voice now openly provocative. "But let's be real. You're an icon, no one's arguing that. But all these tough guy roles, don't you ever feel like you're just playing the same version of yourself? And, by the way," she pauses for effect, "there are rumors that you're not always so tough on set. Some say you can be, let's say, difficult to work with. What do you say to that?" The studio plunges into silence. The camera catches Sarah Haynes exchanging an uneasy glance with Sunny Hostin. Whoopi purses her lips, her hand reaching for her water glass as if she wants to say something but doesn't know how. The audience whispers, some pulling out phones to record the moment. Backstage, a producer in a headset frantically signals the camera operator to zoom in. Jackson leans forward slowly, his gaze sharpening, but he keeps his cool. His fingers tap lightly on the armrest, betraying a hint of tension. "Rumors, Joy?" he asks, his voice quiet but carrying weight. You really want to talk about rumors? I've been in this industry for 40 years. I've worked with the best directors, from Spielberg to Tarantino. And you know what I've learned? Rumors are what people make up when they've got nothing real to say. If someone calls me difficult, maybe it's because I don't let people treat me like a prop. The audience erupts in applause, supporting him. Joy, however, doesn't back down. She leans back, arms crossed, her smile growing more sarcastic. Oh, Samuel, don't be so sensitive, she says, her tone teetering between jest and jab. But let's talk about something more serious. You make these big, loud movies raking millions, but where's your stance? The world's burning, politics, injustice, climate. Why don't you use your platform to say something meaningful? Or are you just hiding behind those explosions to avoid real issues? The silence in the studio becomes oppressive. The camera catches Jackson's face tightening, his jaw clenching. Sarah Haynes tries to intervene, her voice shaky. Joy, maybe we should get back to the movie? Samuel, tell us about preparing for the role. But Joy cuts her off, her eyes gleaming. No, Sarah, I want an answer. Samuel, you're not denying that your movies are just entertainment, right? You dodge serious issues because it's easier to be a star than a voice for change, isn't it? The audience gasps. Someone in the back whispers. She went too far. Whoopi places a hand on the table, as if to stop the storm, but Jackson is already standing. His movements are slow but deliberate. He removes his microphone, the click echoing like a gunshot. Joy. His voice is low but cuts through the studio. You want to talk about responsibility? Fine. Let's talk. The studio freezes. Cameras hum, producers whisper backstage, and the audience waits, breathless. What happens next? The View studio is engulfed in a tense silence. Samuel L. Jackson stands, holding his microphone, his gaze locked on Joy Behar. Her sarcastic smile fades, but she doesn't look away, as if daring him to continue. The audience holds its breath, cameras hum, capturing every movement. Backstage, a producer in a headset whispers frantically into a walkie-talkie. Don't cut the cameras, no matter what! Whoopi Goldberg grips the edge of the table, her face tense, while Sarah Haynes and Sunny Hostin exchange worried glances, unsure how to defuse the situation. Joy, you want to talk about responsibility? Jackson repeats, his voice low but resonating like thunder before a storm. You sit there, at this table, throwing accusations like your judge and jury rolled into one. You call my movies just entertainment? Fine. Let's talk about what you do with your platform. Joy raises an eyebrow, her arms crossed, but a flicker of uncertainty crosses her eyes. She opens her mouth to respond, but Jackson doesn't give her a chance. You think asking provocative questions is courage? He continues, his voice gaining strength. No, Joy. Courage is standing up for what you believe in, even when it doesn't boost your ratings. Courage is respecting the people who come on your show instead of digging into their lives for a cheap moment of hype. The audience erupts in applause, but the cheers are mixed. Some support Jackson, others are stunned by his sharpness. Joy, however, doesn't back down. She leans forward, her voice sharper. Samuel, don't deflect, she says, her tone teetering between sarcasm and irritation. You're dodging the question. You make movies that glorify violence, rake in millions, but when it comes to real issues, racism, inequality, climate, where are you? You're just hiding behind your tough guy image because it's safe. The studio gasps. The camera catches Whoopi's face darkening. She opens her mouth to intervene, but Jackson raises a hand, stopping her. His eyes blaze, but he keeps his composure, his voice dropping even lower, almost menacing. Safe? He repeats, stepping closer to the table. You call my career safe? I grew up in a time when people like me had to fight for every step. I've made movies that challenge the system, A Time to Kill, Django Unchained. I've donated to charities, supported young actors, fought for diversity in Hollywood. And you sit here calling that hiding? You know what a fight is, Joy. Or do you just throw words around because they sound cool? The audience explodes. Someone yells, Samuel, give it to her! Others sit in shock, their faces a mix of awe and unease. Sarah Haynes tries to interject, her voice trembling. Okay, let's all calm down. But her words drown in the tension. Joy, sensing she's losing control, raises her voice. I'm not accusing you of what you do, Samuel. But you avoid responsibility for how your movies affect people. You glorify violence and then act surprised when the world's a mess. Those words are the final straw. Jackson tosses his microphone onto the table. The click echoes like a gunshot. He removes his earpiece and slowly, with dignity, turns to Joy. You know what, Joy? His voice is calm, but each word lands like a blow. You think you can sit here and judge me? You think your words make you brave? No. That's just noise. My movies give people hope, laughter, a moment to forget their problems. And what do? You take someone who came here with good intentions and try to tear them down for clickbait. That's not courage. That's weakness. The studio freezes. The camera catches Joy opening her mouth, but no words come out. Her face pales, her hands trembling as she clutches her notes. Whoopi finally steps in, her voice soft but firm. Samuel, Joy, let's take a pause. But Jackson is already turning toward the exit. He stops, turns to the audience and cameras, his eyes blazing but with a hint of vulnerability. I'm not hiding, he says, addressing everyone. I do what I love, and I do it honestly. If you want to judge me for that, that's your right. But don't let anyone make you feel like your work, your dreams, or your principles aren't worth something. You're worth more. With that, he turns and walks out of the studio. The sound of his footsteps, his boots clicking on the floor, echoes in the silence. The audience erupts in applause, but it's mixed with whispers and uncertain glances. Someone pulls out a phone to post the moment online. Backstage, producers are in a frenzy, one shouting, We're live! What do we do? Joy sits at the table, her face frozen in a mix of shock and irritation. She tries to smile, but it comes off as a grimace. Whoopi takes charge, trying to defuse the tension. Okay, that was intense. Let's take a break. The cameras pull back, showing a divided audience, some clapping, others whispering, a few shaking their heads. Backstage, security escorts Jackson to his dressing room, but he looks calm, his shoulders squared. The moment is already going viral. Clips of his speech flood social media with hashtags like hashtag Samuel L. Jackson, hashtag The View, hashtag Epic Takedown. On X, people weigh in. Samuel destroyed her. Versus. Joy was just doing her job. The moment becomes the top trending topic of the day. The clash between Samuel L. Jackson and Joy Behar became one of the most talked about moments of the year. Some criticize Joy for crossing a line, while others argue she was just asking tough questions. Jackson, meanwhile, earns praise from fans for his dignity and principles. His speech about the value of work and dreams inspires thousands, and Last Strike gets a boost at the box office. But the story leaves an open question. Did Samuel do the right thing by walking out? Did Joy have a point in her questions? Where's the line between provocation for dialogue and humiliation for ratings? Share your thoughts in the comments and join the discussion. Who was right in this battle?